And we are going live. What's happening? We're live. Welcome. I have promised that I would be going live each and every week here, and I will be damned if I let technology stop me. You might have seen that I had scheduled to go live on Wednesday, and I didn't. Trust me, I was here attempting to go live, but there were some technical problems again happened on Thursday. But if I've learned anything, it's that when you put your word out there, when you say you're going to do something, you should damn well do it. And so here it is, Saturday, still technically this week. I count my week starting on Monday, and I'm going live here. Next week, possibly the week after, this show will become more formalized. I have a name that I've bought the domain name for, and we'll be making it into the formal show name. And we'll have a theme each week around freedom. So, the channel often we talk about like personality type, psychology, business and freelancing and that as well. But for the weekly show, I'm going to focus a little more on this aspect of freedom and how you can get more of that in your life. So that's freedom of expression, freedom of location, financial freedom. So we're going to be talking a bit more about the means. And if I do interview people, if I have guests, that will be more of the theme is okay, cool. You know your personality type, you know what you want to be, maybe doing in life or what you love doing, but how do you actually turn that more into like a business, or how do you monetize your craft? Let's say you're an artist or a writer, that how do you deal with clients, making income, all that sort of thing. That's always been something that I've been passionate about, because ultimately, if you don't help people on the business side, then all the confidence, all the psychology knowledge, that doesn't necessarily help because we don't have the freedom to get there. That's my logic, at least that's my thinking right now. Now, this week on the channel, I think on Monday, I released a video about psychology as a major. Should you major in psychology? And the topic there is something I'm really passionate about. Not just psychology, obviously. If you watch any of my videos, you know I'm a geek for this stuff. But this whole thing where people tell us that, oh, you have an English degree, that's so useless. Oh, a psychology degree, what? You couldn't get into business school? Like, fuck you. Psychology, English, these are great majors. What is English? Well, if you're in the English world, it is the best way to communicate, right? It's the language you speak. So if you master the English language, you can write speeches for presidents, you can sell for companies, you can write books, movies. There are huge ways to earn an amazing living with an English degree. Psychology is how we all think. Psychology is the basis of humankind. How could you possibly tell someone that that is a useless degree? But we do live in this world where people think, oh, you've got to do accounting, law, sciences if you want to have any worth in the world. And that's one of my biggest frustrations. My theory, my philosophy is that if you find a way to give people value, you can earn a ton of money doing anything. You can be really into making donuts. So I live in Prague, and maybe 2 blocks from me here, there's this big square with a giant church and restaurants and cafes and all this around. And I went there this morning to buy croissants and a French pastry from this place. Not for me. You guys might know I'm on this keto diet, but for my girlfriend, it is her birthday today. And beside this French place, like a block over, there's a super hipster donut place. They're charging equivalent of 3, 4 US dollars for a donut. That's crazy. But guess what? They had lineups out the door because they found obviously a way to give value. People want these donuts. I imagine they taste very good. I was sort of jealous. I couldn't eat them. And they're giving value and they're getting paid. So imagine you had this kid, right? Let's say the hipster guy who owns the place. He was a young kid. He said, "Dad, I love donuts. Can I just grow up and be a donut maker?" Well, if he was at least in North America, his dad would have said, "You're an idiot. Go study accounting. Go get an engineering degree." But that donut maker, he would have grown up and made his family proud. And my point is that if you actually follow what you're interested in and what you're passionate about, what you'll be good at, all you have to do then is find a way to give people value so they'll pay for it. And then you're going to be able to earn a really good living. And so, whether you want to study psychology or English or donut making, I say do it. Do the thing that you're going to enjoy, because at the end of the day, if you study something you're passionate about or you work in an area that you're really into, you're going to have so much more drive. You're going to be in a better mood. You're going to be more motivated. And so, even if you pick a field that doesn't have as much money in it, you're going to end up likely, I would say, making more money, or at the very least being very happy, because you're going to be playing at a much higher level than if you try to force yourself down some route where there isn't necessarily money there. There isn't or sorry, there is money there, but you're not interested in it. It's not something you actually want to be doing. That's my rant. I'll be doing more on this show when it becomes a proper official show, as well as videos in this in the future. If you are interested in this topic of giving value and how you can turn basically anything you like doing into earning money, I have a playlist. If you go to the channel, I should have had a link for this handy. I apologize. But I have a playlist on how to work for yourself, and there's 3 videos there. They're each about 30 minutes long. And the first one, I go into this concept in more detail about like giving value and how you can basically earn money and build a business or a freelancing career around just about anything if you understand, people and how to give value and just get really good at something. So that's it in anything kind of prepared I wanted to talk about here. And when I say prepared, I mean I just wanted to go and rant about this topic. Let me check here what else I have. Only other thing I would share in terms of like a lesson, kind of a Dan type thing, is about keeping your word and building momentum. I started the show talking about how I was trying to go live on Wednesday and then Thursday. And if you knew me in real life, which some of you might if you come to the event we're doing in Prague at the end of August, I've already started meeting some subscribers at the event in Mexico. But if you knew me, you'd know that I'm generally a happy guy, except when technology comes up and it doesn't work. And so Wednesday, I was trying to go live for the show. It was just not working. And by the time I could get it to work, it was like 20 minutes in, and I was just really thrown off my game. And I was like, it's probably better to wait to do this another time. Um, but I wanted to come on today and keep up this momentum because I said I would do something live every week. And one of the things we talked about on Friday, I do this group coaching program for ENFPs called ENFP Unleashed. And during our call, we were talking about this, how you can make your word mean something, and how what can happen. This has happened in my own life where I made my word so powerful that if I said I will get up at 5 a.m. and I will be there, I would be there. And if I said I would get something done, I would just not sleep. It would get done, no matter what had to happen. And then there's been other times in my life where my word became kind of meaningless. And it started with sort of a white lie here and there, then a lie here and there. And then suddenly my word meant nothing. And the problem with that is once your word means nothing to other people and to yourself, then it's really hard to get yourself to do things, whether it's change how you eat or exercise more or follow through, like post a video or start a business or quit a job. If your word doesn't mean something to you, then you're on like, I don't know how you function. It becomes really, really hard. And so, one of the things that I really try to do, I pride myself on doing, is as best as I can, make my word mean something. Like if I say I'm going to do something, even to myself, if I just say, hey, I'm going to get up and go for a walk today, to do that. Because I think that we sort of all have a couple people living within us, like at least a couple personalities. And part of us is like our unconscious essentially is watching us. And I'm really dumbing down the psychology here, but basically we have a self image based on how we perceive ourselves. And so if you see yourself kind of lying, not following through, saying you're going to do something and then not doing it, your self-image, your like perception of who you are will change. And then suddenly when you say to yourself, hey, Dan, I'm going to get up at 7 a.m. tomorrow, go for a run. Part of you is saying, bullshit, Dan. I know that's not what you'll do. I know last week you said you do that and you're not going to do it because you don't follow through. And to me, that is a sad point to be in, a point I've been in many times. And the cool thing is, you can build yourself out of that by just taking action through, saying you'll do something. Sorry, say you'll do something, take action, and then follow through, and continuing that pattern. And then you build your word into meaning something again. So that maybe is a theme coming out of just starting the show today, throwing it on. I'm just going to jump into the chat here, which will involve me totally losing my train of thought and just seeing what everyone's saying. Cool. Awesome. So Iris is saying that as an ENFP, I find satisfaction in what I do very important. I'm studying biology, and despite being really passionate about it, it doesn't satisfy me. And yeah, I use the term passion, and passion is probably not the right word because passions can come and go, as we all know when we've met that stranger at the bar. And I think it's more about what you'll always be interested in. And I would also say good at, because when we're good at things, we feel good about it and good about ourselves, and then we do it more and we get better and better, and that sort of um, fills itself. um, how can I pick a field when I'm interested in so many different things? Art, music, makeup, guitar, piano, sports. Holy crap, you love everything. What I would say when it comes to picking like a field of study or school, keep in mind it doesn't have to encompass everything. Try one of the things though I do love about entrepreneurship and working for myself is being curious, being interested in a lot of things. It gets rewarded. When I was a freelance writer, one of the valuable traits I brought to it is that I had a wide range of experience. I knew about a lot of different things. So if I met a client and they had a business in real estate, I was like, oh, I worked in that for a year. I know some things, and I'd be very curious. So when I met a client with an obscure business, it would be really interesting for me to learn about them. So being curious, liking a lot of different things is a very positive trait. I think many, many entrepreneurs are this way. When it comes to exactly where to focus, I can't figure that out live and give you a really good answer on it. What I've generally done is always used, I call it the 70% rule. I think I invented it. I don't know. Um, if you're 70% sure of what you want to do it, see what happens for a year or two, then readjust. The only way I find that I get feedback and I learn is by doing, failing, succeeding, it doesn't matter, but then you learn and you can adjust. So I say, whatever you're 70% sure is the right fit, try it, see what happens, and then adjust. Unfortunately, this isn't how the education system works, and I have a lot of sympathy for my American fans. I'm Canadian. Our schools still cost money, unlike the Europeans here who have it mostly for free. But expecting someone at 17, 18 years old to pick their major, what they're going to do for the next 4 or 5 years, and ultimately their whole life, and then to rack up a lot of debt for that, it's insane. If you're in that situation, that kind of sucks. I would say stick to something that's going to help you learn how to think and going to help you become a better person. People talk down often the liberal arts things like philosophy, history, things like psychology or sociology can get grouped into these degrees as well of like, well, how will you earn money? To me, the value in like university or college is learning how to think, learning how to behave, learning about yourself. Some of that might come in from, partying too much, being late on finishing a paper and having to convince the professor to give you an exception. All these things play in. But I think learning how to think and kind of becoming your next self is one of the benefits of university, of college. I wouldn't worry too much about the specific focus in many cases. But I like going general for me. Like I could have studied marketing, but I prefer to study psychology and then learn marketing through psychology I told my manager, Natasha, she doesn't have to be on this one to help me manage it because it was quite slow last time. And now you guys are blowing up. So, lesson learned here. Um, Cool. Just lots of chat. Sorry for anyone watching the replay here. The last thing I'd say just about, doing something, following the 70% rule, jumping in, is that that's all you can do, right? Is try, figure it out, adjust. If I look back at what I thought my life would be like 10 years, today, if I look back 10 years ago, lots is different, but there's definitely hints. And at some level, I knew what I wanted to be doing and tried different things, got to different places, made big mistakes, had some successes. And ultimately, that kind of is, builds you into who you are. There's people who will get it the first try, like they'll pick something, it will be the perfect fit, it will be awesome for them. There's people who don't figure it out until their 50s. And I think in both cases, you have a different life experience, you learn different things, you become a different kind of person. There's no like right or wrong with that. There's no winning or losing. What's that song about sunscreen song? There's a line in it that says, most people don't know what they want to do when they're in their 20s. The most interesting people I know are in their 50s and still don't know what they want to do with their lives. Something like that. I'm butchering the quote, but I always love that. Um, cool. I'm going to call it because it is a beautiful sunny day in Prague and we are renting paddle boats and going off onto the river to celebrate my girlfriend's birthday here. It will be a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to be doing these, as I said, every week. I'm figuring out be a good one. It seems there's lots of interest here. Thanks for watching. That's about it. If you're not a subscriber, do subscribe to the channel, of course. And if you are a subscriber on YouTube, one thing I would encourage you to do is check out, if you go to dreamsaroundtheworld.com/free training, or just go to the website and look for a box, popping out type thing. I have a 9-part email series on designing your and creating it. So that's a 9-part email series, and they're pretty. Like I put a lot of work. I could have made it a book, but I made them flight emails. So there's some really cool stories and inspiring stuff in there. And I think there's a link under the live stream for that as well. It's the first link. So I would encourage you announcing for freelancers, coaches, and consultants on building your business and having more freedom and location independence. And I don't even know what else. I think I have something else as well. So I generally just announce those through email. So be sure to check that out. Oh, the event in Prague this August, I'll be mentioning there as well. I'm done. Take like an end stream. There you go.